A dragon named Zarni was born into a family of fire-breathing dragons who lived in the mountains. He was very curious and dreamed of seeing the world beyond the mountains. One day he decided to go on a trip and flew away from his parents. Zarni flew over forests, rivers, and fields, and admired the beauty of nature. He met many different animals and birds, and tried to make friends with them, but they were all afraid of him and ran away from him. Zarni was very sad that no one wanted to play with him. Zarni continued his flight and saw a big city where people lived. He decided to see what was interesting there and landed on the roof of one of the houses. He saw people walking the streets, riding cars and bicycles, talking on phones and laughing. Zarni thought that the people were very funny and friendly and wanted to get to know them. Zarni came down from the roof and walked down the street, greeting people affably. But when people saw him, they got scared and started screaming, running and calling for help. Zarni didn't understand why they were reacting like that and thought they were playing hide and seek with him. He decided to play with them and started chasing them, thinking it was fun. Zarni did not notice that the police were chasing him, who wanted to catch him and take him to the zoo. He thought it was another game and began dodging police cars and helicopters, setting them on fire with his fire. He laughed and was glad that he had found friends. Zarni reached the city center, where there were many people and buildings. He saw a large amusement park with rides, carousels, and balloons. He thought it was the most beautiful place in the world and decided to visit it. He flew into the park and started riding rides, popping balloons, and eating ice cream. Zarni was having fun in the park, not knowing that he had caused a lot of chaos and panic in the city. People fled the park, leaving their belongings and money. Police and firefighters tried to stop him, but to no avail. Zarni ignored them and continued his game. Zarni saw a large castle that stood on a hill above the park. He thought that this was the home of the king and queen and decided to greet them. He flew up to the castle and knocked on the gate with his tail. But the gates did not open, and the soldiers who guarded the castle fired from them. Zarni thought it was another game and started blowing fire at them, burning their clothes and weapons. Zarni broke into the castle and saw the king and queen sitting on a throne in the hall. He walked up to them and bowed, as his parents had taught him. He told them that he had come to say hello and play with them. But when the king and queen saw him, they fainted from fear. Zarni thought they were tired and decided to sleep. He decided to wait until they woke up and lay down next to them on the throne. Zarni slept on the throne, unaware that he had become the most wanted criminal in the city. All the television channels and newspapers wrote about him and his actions. People demanded from the authorities that they catch him and get rid of him. The police and army were preparing to storm the castle to free the king and queen and capture the dragon. Zarni woke up to the noise and saw that soldiers, policemen, and journalists were standing around him, looking at him with hatred and fear. He didn't understand what was going on and asked them why they were so angry. But no one answered him, but only shouted and shot at him. Zarni got scared and decided to run away from them. Zarni ran out of the castle and flew into the air, trying to find a way out of the city. But he did not notice that fighters were flying behind him, who wanted to shoot him down. He thought it was another game and began to do various tricks in the air, dodging missiles and bullets. He laughed and was glad that he had found new friends. Zarni was flying over the city, unaware that he had violated the airspace and caused an alarm at the airport. He saw large planes taking off from the airport carrying people and cargo. He thought it was very interesting and decided to take a closer look at them. He flew up to one of the planes and began to fly around it from all sides, admiring its size and shape. Zarni did not notice that he was interfering with the pilot of the plane, who was trying to get away from him and keep heading. He thought the pilot was playing catch up with him and started chasing him, thinking it was fun. He began to blow on the plane with his fire, trying to catch up with it. He did not know that he had damaged the plane's engine and caused a fire on board. Zarni saw people with parachutes flying out of the plane who were fleeing the fire. He thought it was another game and decided to play with them. He started catching them in the air and throwing them at other planes, thinking it was funny. He didn't realize that he was putting them in danger and interfering with other pilots. Zarni continued his game, unaware that he had caused a major accident at the airport. He saw several planes collide with each other and explode, creating a huge fireball. He thought it was very beautiful and decided to take a closer look at it. He flew into a fireball and began to spin in it, admiring its colors and warmth. Zarni was having fun in a fireball, not knowing that he had caused a great tragedy in the city. All the television channels and newspapers wrote about him and his actions. People demanded from the authorities that they catch him and punish him. The president declared a state of emergency and ordered the army to use all means to destroy the dragon. Zarni flew out of the fireball and saw that missiles were flying behind him, which wanted to shoot him down. He thought it was another game and started dodging them, thinking it was interesting. He began to blow on them with his fire, trying to smash them. He didn't know that he caused a big explosion in the air that destroyed many buildings and bridges. Zarni flew over the city, not knowing that he had become the most dangerous creature in the world. He saw people running away from him, leaving their homes and jobs. He saw the city burning and smoking from his fire. He saw people crying and suffering from his actions. He suddenly realized that he had done something wrong and that he had not found friends, but only enemies. Zarni felt very sad and lonely. He regretted that he flew away from his parents and went on a trip. He regretted that he did not understand people and their feelings. He regretted that he had caused them so much pain and fear. He decided that he no longer wanted to be in this world and that he wanted to return home. He turned around and flew back to the mountains, hoping that his parents were still waiting for him and would forgive him.